Yeah, now we'll move to the next question. Yeah, can you name a few major schemes of finance announced by government India, banks and other institutions which enable MSEs to start new business and grow their established businesses?
Yeah. For that, I will share my screen with you. Now, for startups, these are the schemes. The startups, there are not many schemes, but there are like each ministry has a scheme for a startup. So there is a Startup India. See, first of all, the startups get funding and tax incentives. So the most important thing for startups is that they get tax incentives. After inception for next 3 years, they don't have to pay a tax. After that, also there is a special tax of 15% which they have to pay. So startups have this advantage. Then incubation and industry academia partnership. So industry can also fund them if they are supplying to say auto industry, and if they have innovative product, then the industry promoters or the industry chairman, say Tata Auto, Tata Motors or Bajaj, they can help them with their funding because they are supplying to them. Then
Yeah,
funding
because
is
they're
there.
ancillaries. I think they're called ancillaries.
Almost all the ministries are funding the startup. Each ministry has its own scheme for funding. Food processing ministry has funding agro industries. Ministry of Electronics and IT is funding, this artificial intelligence and robotics and analytics. They have schemes at the seed stage, at the prototype stage, at the commercialization stage. There are schemes. They give you seed funding in the initial stages, and then they give you at the commercialized process, they give you a much larger subsidy or a loan. Or sometimes the subsidy is in the form of, sometimes the loan is in the form of a convertible debenture, so that into shares, So that kind of funding is there for startups. There is some funding for startups under this Atal Innovation Mission, a platform for world-class innovation hubs. It helps to collaborate startups with different stakeholders, different stakeholders like investors, corporates who are buying from them, or banks, or government departments. So there is a platform where they can collaborate. And then from them, from the investors, from the angel investors or venture capitalists, they can get funding. Startup India Seed Fund Scheme has been started by government. And then there is a credit guarantee fund specially for startups. Like if they are not able to repay, we talked about CGT MSE. Now there is this credit guarantee fund specially created for startups because they may fail. They may not be able to pay. But some guarantee gives some respite to the lender. Now I'm coming to my last slide, which is the usual, the general routine schemes. These are the schemes for MSMEs. There is a Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, which, they give subsidies as percentage of project cost, So some subsidy is given in the beginning of the project. It is about 15%, 20%, depending on the project cost. I'm giving you very brief idea because if I go into all these schemes and explanation, it will take 2 hours.
So subsidy is a grant basically. It's a grant of a certain percentage.
Grant. Yeah. Okay, yes. Then there is Credit Guarantee Trust Fund, which I told you for collateral-free loan, where the banks will give you guarantee of repayment in case you default. In case you default, that doesn't mean that you should default. Correct. But in case you default, this CGT MSE will repay the bank. Then there is Mudra Yojana, that is Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency, which is an NBFC, that is non-bank finance company. Most of the banks give loans under Mudra. So those are very small loans, right, up to 50 lakhs.
Yeah, but even a small loan is quite useful for when a person
for a startup and all. Yeah. And it is called funding the unfunded because, most of these Mudra people are from the semi-urban or small town areas or rural areas that they want to start some trading business or services. They get 10 lakh, 50 lakh, they are happy. Correct. So that is for that. Then there is one scheme called Trade Receivables Discounting Scheme, which is short form is TRADES, where again I told that bill discounting, it is something like that. But it is on a platform. Correct. So you can do online.
You can
so
get
if your
payment of your bill from the bank at a certain cut. Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then there is a credit-linked capital subsidy for technology upgradation,
Mm.
CLCSS, and that is for existing units. If you have already bought a machinery and you want to expand, as I told you, then already you have taken a loan from the bank, so you will get a second loan for buying new machinery, which may be
Okay.
a little more costly. A higher amount will be given to you if you are
Mm.
doing upgradation in technology. So you are
Okay.
trying to save cost, and for that, bank will definitely give you a loan. Then there is SIDBI Make in India Soft Loan Fund for MSMEs. It is called SMILE. It is
Mm.
again for new as well as existing enterprises. It's a
Mm.
soft loan. Soft loan means it is at a slightly lower, you know, uh, special interest rates.
Yeah,
Then
yeah. I
there
think
is
it's
purchase of
not slightly
equipment
lower,
for
it's considerably
enterprises.
lower.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
there is a SIDBI scheme for purchase of equipment for enterprises existing for 5 years. So if you've been in business for 5 years, then you can get this loan for purchase of equipment, only for equipment. But equipment may cost 1 crore also these days, you know. So it is called Speed Plus.
Mm.
Then there are a number of schemes for marketing. You know, government is giving you support by way of, subsidy
Mm.
for participation in exhibitions, trade fairs, international as well as domestic. And then you can even, if you want to travel, they will give you some airfare. At least 70-80% of the airfare is taken care of if you want to go abroad. If you want to have a fair in India, then if you want to set up a stall, and if you want to take your samples, and you want to make your pamphlets, and if you want to make your marketing material, government is giving you help for that also. Government is giving you funding for
Mm.
traveling, for market material, as well as for putting up a stall. So government is giving a lot of help for marketing. Then
Okay.
a special platform called GEM, Government E-Marketplace. So
Ah,
it's a
yes, yes.
platform.
This is very
It's
important.
a platform in which the buyers and sellers discover each other. So if government, mostly government buyers. So if the government Ministry of Defense wants some equipment, then it will go on that GEM platform and say, okay, I want these products,
Mm.
components or whatever. So then the person who wants to supply to that particular entity or the ministry or the department, they
Mm.
will quote their price, and others will also quote. So on the GEM platform, you can even discover your price, at what price you can sell, you
Wow.
know. Yeah. So you know your competitors, you know how much you can supply, and accordingly, the government department will buy from the best competing product,
Wow. Wow.
best competing sale.
It's, I think, a very useful thing, and entrepreneurs should explore it. Yeah, one thing I would say, we are planning to have a separate session, and which may be paid, because it is going to cover all these things in detail, and
Yeah.
we will inform the, those who are interested at a later
I
stage.
have a small table. See, whoever is interested can approach me or Rahul by giving their company name, type of company, whether it's micro, small, medium, startup, or women-owned. Then they can give their products and their service. They can give a little bit about their annual turnover, if they want loan and what type of loan, working capital or term loan, and for what purpose the loan is required, and any other service that is required, like business plan preparation or
Mm.
marketing model, or
Mm.
market canvas, whatever. They can give their details, and that they can email to me, and
Mm.
they can ask, and they can fill up the details and send it to us on the email. So
Yes.
we know who wants to know more about any of this. There are actually more than 100 schemes only from government. Then
Yeah.
the state bank has its own schemes.
Oh,
Private banks
state
have
government.
their own schemes.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
there are hundreds of schemes, but it has to be understood clearly.
Yes, yes, yes. We will prepare a module which will cover the main ones. We are planning in that.
Yeah.
A half a day session where we'll explain all this, and
Yeah.
we're working out the logistics and all that.
Then we will take individual question answers also.
Yes, yes, yes. And that will be very useful for the.
Yeah, yeah. So Rahul, can I ask you your questions now? Huh?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Can you tell us what prompted you to shift from your retail trading business to business coaching and consulting business?
Sure, sure. Now we can stop screen share, I think. Yeah, basically,
Tell us
correct.
about your journey.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you are the main guest, so I will not take that much time. And I guess even the viewers also wouldn't like that. So basically, yeah, retail trading business was doing okay well, and I in the just few years before Corona, I went into some setback and all that. But the point was, I I just started reading information, learning about management, looking up the courses were from Bada Business and Action Coaching and all that, and Indian Institute of Learning and Development. So I realized that I need to what they call this pivot. Pivot is the word which there. So I realized I will be able to create. More impact from the society and by uh, going into this stream of consulting and through this in fact we fortunately met in this time because I choose
Yeah,
to go to this so we came across people like you. So what
yeah,
I noticed is yes, the value addition which I could do from retail trading business, I can do much more, at least from my perception side, by going into this consulting thing. And yeah, and correct. So I'm so that's the whole idea of me shifting over from this.
yeah. Can you explain in brief the course that you are going to start for our viewers, for our small entrepreneurs?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, the
Briefly, you
course.
can explain.
Correct, correct. Okay, the course is basically I would call it business models. It's like, in short, first is representing your existing business model in a proper way, where you use a format called business model canvas. Understanding the value proposition which is given by the existing business model to the consumers and how the consumers perceive it. Then, you know, then what we call testing the efficacy of the current model. Then if we find some gaps, then how we can get some good ideas about starting new business models. It could be sub models also, some division or something. So basically brainstorming it and getting some few more ideas. Then we have a method which where you can test it, and then some of them go to the higher stage of prototype and funding, and all that process is there. So this thing I felt would be very useful for the entrepreneurs because ultimately it has been realized that businesses these days cannot just have one good aspect. If somebody is good at marketing and sales, and then to expect that only that particular thing will carry them through all that is, it is not now, this thing. And point is, innovation is also required in business model. And to get innovation in business model, it requires a little bit of process, which
Yeah.
otherwise and otherwise it will just so otherwise it becomes difficult to get an innovation, and innovation, such a innovation which
Innovation is the buzzword these days.
yes, but the innovation, not for the heck of it, it has to be viable also. So for that also
Yeah.
is also very interesting. So all this course and all this using the tools, knowledge, and all that, we are going to see that how can one innovate in their business viably and feasibly, and maybe even yeah, cause a disruption in the way the business is done in that particular area. It has that potential to find out even that. That's the reason.
That's very good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is something over and above the business plan. Business plan is very basic, but your business
Yeah,
model
correct, correct. Business model,
is
you
a
can say, is
is
necessary,
a
but it is not
refined
sufficient.
version.
Yeah. And in and business plan will actually, the when you make a future planning, if you have the
Statistics
business
are
model,
required.
know the business model, then you can easily find out how it's going to cost and all. So
Yeah.
basically, what in business planning, you just assume that you are going to be doing the same things, and you just do a linear, projection. While with this,
Mhm.
need not be a linear projection. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe say this year you are doing something, next year 80-90% will be the same, but like 10% will be different, and for that you can
Yeah.
project. And then maybe next year like 10% becomes 30-40%. Yeah, so that way,
Yeah.
so you can in your business planning itself, you can tell the bank, yeah, I have got these ideas in mind, but which will come into play in 1 year, next year, 2 years. And so in
So
that,
it's a moving model, like
correct. Yes,
it's a moving model. As you
yes,
grow, you keep on
moving
changing
model.
your
Yes,
model.
yes. And then once it is made, it's not, it is cannot be adapted or changed. You can always as per the
Yeah. You have to
feedback
have
you get, you can,
flexibility. You have to have flexibility in everything
yeah,
these days.
flexible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
So we must have a session. We must have a joint session on
Yes,
this,
we'll have a joint session.
and we will invite interest from the listeners,
Yes,
and we
yes,
can get their ideas. We can get what their needs are, what their requirements are, and we will have another online or maybe an offline program. It will be a long duration program, so I don't know whether it can be only online, and we can make it little payable so that later on we can have individual question answers to sort out each, because each one is from a different business, each one is from different geographical location, so it is good that we can have personal interactions also, for
correct.
which of course we will have a full day, maybe a half day thing, where
Yes,
we
yes,
can sort out queries on individual basis also.
correct. Yes, yes.
So okay.
Okay, yeah. So just in the end, closing, I thank you, appreciate very much that you took out your precious time to,
Yeah.
guide our entrepreneurs from our group, the entrepreneur friends group, and we will also be having other tours also. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you for
very much.
inviting me, and thank you for allowing me to introduce myself and my services.
Yes,
Always
yes.
be ready to help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
And they can contact me on my email also.
Yes. We will all keep all those details.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Rahul. Thank you very much. Bye.